Hey everybody, welcome to Ref Time, powered by RTS and produced by Coraggio Media. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Crane. We'll be covering rules, plays, points of emphasis, and all things official. Welcome to another segment of Ref Time with the great Barry Jorris. I probably could have done that a little bit more exciting, but how can I do it? Barry Jorris.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we can all hear you. Thank you.
That was a pretty good one, though. You got to admit, that was very, very interesting. Welcome to the show, Barry.
Welcome, Barry.
Hey, glad to be here.
Yeah.
Be my honor.
Yeah, well, we've had you booked for 2 years, and we couldn't get you on, and
Something like that.
I mean,
So-
he gets around quite a bit.
yes,
so,
he does.
you know,
I
he's
usually
very-
when I'm calling
very
him, he's out
busy.
of town
Yeah,
somewhere.
another state.
Yeah, on call.
And next week I'll be out of town.
Yeah, I know you will be. So,
But
we're
this week,
I'm here.
you're here.
Right here
You
on
and
the
me.
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you weren't trying to give me any?
No.
Well, because see, Barry and I have a special connection this week because
Just this week?
because we actually are working a sectional together
Yeah.
this week, volleyball sectional.
Yeah.
Volleyball
Yeah.
sectional.
I didn't know that. You guys are working together.
We are.
Cool.
We are.
Cool. Where you at? Where you at?
Bluffton.
Yep.
That's a pretty good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Should
Yeah.
be pretty tough.
Who knows? We
Yeah.
go there to blow the whistle.
Yeah.
Amen. So,
Yep.
Barry, we're here to talk about officiating. So, why did you get into officiating, and when?
Well, I got into officiating way back in late 1980, 88, someplace down in there.
Mm-hmm.
I was up in Minnesota, and we were traveling as full-time evangelists, and we needed extra money during that break. And I was away from basketball, and I loved basketball. I played basketball through the small college that I went to and wanted something to do. And the pickup games, okay, so hey, let's get around the game.
Okay.
So found out how, got my license up there in Minnesota, and some guys that were getting the games wanted us to come along and do the JV games, and then would teach us. So I started doing that back then and did it up until we left Minnesota in 1995. And then I didn't think about just transferring my license from Minnesota to Indiana,
Right.
and got here instead, and my daughter wanted to play basketball. So I coached homeschool basketball for about 8 years before I got back into license here and doing basketball here in Indiana. So,
How many years did you work basketball in Minnesota?
5 to 8 years, someplace in there. I don't remember the exact names, but it was up until 95 when we came here. I just had a good schedule. I had varsity game schedule, JV game schedule, and I'm just really getting into this, and had to cancel all those games and leave because we were moving to Indiana.
So, what moved you here?
The church that I'm in now currently at, First Assembly, where I came 27 years ago, 28 years ago.
Wow.
I came as their kids pastor, and came to town for that reason. And hey, God brings me to a state that Indiana. You got to be a Hoosier? Nope, I'm an Iowa Hawkeye.
Had you ever visited Indiana prior to that?
We had been to Indiana several times. We had driven through, had friends that lived here, and then there was a conference we used to come here called Fellowship of Christian Magicians, and so
Because that's your side gig,
yeah,
right?
that's what I do. It all works into the ministry. Yeah. So
Yes, if no one knows, Mr. Barry Jorris is a magician on the side. So
on the side, do some balloons, can do a puppet, and just make some fun things happen.
Now,
you
that's
do.
an interesting field.
Well,
Magic.
and you know, we got introduced to that a number of years ago when our daughter was really young.
You came and did a party for us.
Yeah.
then.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I did.
Was that it? Did we hold that at Fellowship?
No, that was at Canterbury in the middle school.
Oh, wow.
Or the lower school, because it was that little itty bitty gym they had.
Yep, I do remember
Well,
that.
that's a good memory you have.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't remember it
I
either.
have, I've got pictures and stuff of it, so
That's why
the
I
only
have to
reason.
behave, because she remembers stuff.
She remembers stuff.
Yes.
So that's when you got your basketball license. When did you get your volleyball license?
Oh, probably 5 or 6 years after that. I don't keep track of dates real well, but I've
Yeah,
been doing
me either.
volleyball now for quite a while. And at the same time I got the volleyball, I got the softball license, I think.
Okay, and Is this your second sectional?
This is my second sectional this time to be. I had a goal that I wanted to get a sectional, be selected to do that in one of the sports we do. And so this is the one that worked out in the schedule. I could have probably gotten a softball. It's just a conflict with a thing that we have in our church, district-wide. And so I haven't. I am going to apply this year and see what happens.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you. Hope
So
you
you've
get
been
it.
doing volleyball and softball about the same amount of time, same amount of
Yeah.
years? That's what, 5 to 6? No, you said you got them 5 to 6 years after you get your basketball.
I've been doing those probably 12 at least,
12
maybe more
years.
than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And got to put you in the spot. Out of all the sports you ref, which one's your favorite?
Well, I think probably basketball is still my favorite.
Okay.
The knees are not saying it's my favorite.
Yeah.
But I certainly enjoy the basketball world. That was probably my main sport. I had done a little bit of volleyball when I was at a Y and after high school, but this is my main sport. Was my main sport. But the knees are telling me how long you can stay in that.
They do have a say in that, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's why we got to get you in the wheelchair basketball. Because, hey, you do more walking in
Yeah,
wheelchair.
you really do. And
Fast-paced walking.
and we still do 3-person.
Yeah.
In a lot of the games, maybe
Yeah.
not all of them, but
Yeah.
a lot of the games still use 3-person.
And it pays pretty
wheelchair.
well.
Yes.
Okay. I have a little segue. Can I use that? Never mind. I thought I'd try that on a JV game out here and bring my Segway to a school and see if I can buzz up and down. And they wouldn't probably like that.
Well,
I don't think so.
I've seen what happens to you when you ride your Segway up and down.
Yes. Yeah. Was that part? Did that start out being part of the magician?
And
side?
no, that just is a fun hobby. I was just to have fun. I
Have
like
you figured
to have
it
fun.
out yet?
Yes,
Because
I've
we know
figured it
you
out.
fell off at one time and broke something.
I've fallen off more than once, but if you're a roller skater, if you're in anything, biking, you got to fall down to get better.
Alrighty then. So on that note, so let's go to a career highlight for
Yes.
you. What is a career
Give us a
highlight?
career highlight.
Basketball, softball.
You got a lot to choose
volleyball?
from. You got 3 different sports.
Well, I only have so much memory space to restore what was back in there. And so I don't know. I mean, it was fun last year to get selected for a volleyball sectional. And so that was good. I did that out at Carroll with Jake, and that was fun to do that. So, there's that memory. I think a fun memory of doing basketball was a JV game, and partner didn't show. And then I called, and of course, didn't get booked. Or I told them I'm not here. I'm in Hawaii or something. And so then I
Wow.
said, hey, what are we going to do here? Well, they were scrambling to get somebody there. I'm over at Snyder, and we were going along. And I said, well, we just had a meeting and talking about wait, don't start with one. So I was trying to drag in my feet, not going to start. Head coach coming in, it's senior night. We got to get this going. Just start it. So here I am doing a JV game there at Snyder by myself on the floor.
JV.
I
Boys
did
or girls?
Boys, I think. And I
Ooh.
did
wow.
a quarter and a half by myself on the floor.
Wow.
But hey, that's what you do. Just get out there and do it.
How long ago did this happen?
Oh, this was way back. This is probably 50, how many years I've been at it. So
Oh, you said you could run back then.
yeah, I was running. It was good.
Yeah.
And so it was fun. Oh, I had a lot of fun moments in basketball game, whether I was one particular game that stands out in my mind. It's just usually I walk off. It was fun. Glad we're here. And I enjoy the environment. Get my bag of popcorn. Referee supper.
The
Popcorn and
dinner-
we
the
gotta
dinner of
start.
champions.
We got to start talking about that. We have guests on. What is your favorite thing to get to eat or drink when you're there and munch
Oh,
on? I know
man.
what hers is. I can tell you right now. M&M's.
M&M's.
She's
Peanut-
got to get peanut
peanut
M&Ms. I haven't figured out
or
mine
Milky
yet.
Way. I
Wait,
like
what's
Milky
mine?
Ways
I like the
too.
popcorn usually.
You like the popcorn,
Popcorn.
usually,
And
especially
may-
if they have the caramel corn. That's one of his favorites.
Oh, yeah.
the caramel
Yeah.
corn.
Yeah, that
gotta
is.
have
What school is it? It's up at Cherubusco. Give me a box of caramel corn.
Uh-huh.
it. Yeah.
Yep. Well,
But see,
down
a lot
at
of
Marion,
schools,
they have the
Marion has
packaged
the
one.
bag. It's bagged. It's
Yeah.
sealed.
Uh-huh.
And there's a couple other schools that do that. And that caramel corn is good.
Yeah, it is.
And then I like to get a blue Gatorade and popcorn. And when I'm with my partner, I go, yeah, can I have a popcorn? And I'll take a caramel corn and a blue Gatorade. And they look at me and go, well, why don't you just ask for everything back there? I'm like,
Why not?
Why not?
Well, I mean, he has gone back to the concession stand. I'll take one of everything, please.
Yeah, right. No, I have-
You've said it. Now it hasn't happened.
Well, yeah, I
but
say it, but it's not a bad idea. No. All right, so rules and points of emphasis. So pet peeve on a rule that you have, with no matter what sport, points of emphasis that stand out in your mind.
I think having to monitor whether they have earrings in, whether they don't, is just a ridiculous
yes,
thing.
It is.
And we used to be in softball where I had to go inspect the bats and look at the equipment and see if any screws were loose in the catcher's mitt. And I'm like, come on now, am I that? Probably the other thing that is, I think, is a silly thing. In softball, I've got to keep the roster. I keep the lineup. And all the other sports, the table's keeping the lineup. Mm-hmm. When I get on that softball game, now you're going to bring somebody in. Stop, I got to pull out the paper and I get a pencil and write this in.
That is ridiculous.
And I'm just like, why is that so? We have electronics in this day and age. We have everything, and there's somebody up in the box that could easily do that.
Yep.
Why am I writing on this line of piece of paper? So that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves.
Well, and that's contradictory.
He was prepared for that.
That's contradictory to what we do in volleyball. Because in volleyball, they don't want us keeping a piece of paper because it slows the game down. They don't want us to keep the lineup.
But somebody told me the other day that they're leaning back towards keeping cards again.
Well, they're not leaning back towards it. They're
leaning
saying
back,
that if you must have one, it needs to really stay in your pocket. I mean, you can have it written out, look
if
at
it's
it.
going to stay in my pocket, why would I carry it?
Well,
if you're going to pull it out, it needs to be a quickness.
Yeah. Yes.
Mark down and put it away.
So everything's about speed nowadays.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And it is a crazy thing in volleyball because they want us to keep all those people in order. You got 6 numbers out there, and to keep them in order and to flow with that. Well, I'm telling you.
And then subs on top of it.
The subs in and where
Libero.
Yeah.
Mine is not as that sharp.
And in injuries.
And it's not just 6. It's 6 on one side and
it's
6 on the other.
Right.
Yes.
And subs and liberos with when you have injuries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man, and the expectations that are put on officials, I think, is getting out of hand because the speed of the game, of all the game sports, have sped up so much. They put more on the officials to be in charge of, like you said, that what a lot of guys will call the fashion police. We have to be the fashion police.
Yeah.
Most refs don't like that part.
Yeah.
The IHSAA, the NFHS wants us to enforce that, and most people are going, why do I have to do that?
Well,
especially when it's girls and it's
a
men.
coach.
Yeah, well, now volleyball, now we're allowing studs.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think these girls are doing? They're not just wearing studs. They're wearing these long things that fit in. Well, that's not a stud.
Right.
Now I've got to go up there and I got to be the one to tell them, hey,
it's
you're not
worse
supposed to
for
wear
us being males.
Yes.
A lot of guys feel very uncomfortable trying to tell this young lady, and then she jumps and she's got a belly ring on.
Yep.
Didn't see a thing. I'm not enforcing that. I'm not touching it.
Not looking.
And then, you have to stay away from these young ladies. You got me enforcing some of the dumbest stuff.
I had a girl on the volleyball court one time who kept taking her shirt and wiping her face, and I just happened to look, and oh Lord. So in between sets, I went down. I said, Coach, number such and such needs to take her belly button ring out. Like I said, and it's uncomfortable for me too because I'm still, I'm an adult, it's in the middle of the game, and there could be. You could be accused of anything.
Why did you tell me that before the game started?
Why are you? Well, you're not supposed to have it in.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. I shouldn't have to tell you again.
Yeah. Those things are the things, the part of the game that I'm there to have fun, get them started in the game, train them, and to go with the game.
But the other part of it is safety. It's a safety issue, and so that's a priority. But
in basketball, when they won't keep their jerseys tucked in, that is frustrating, and they pull that out. And it's a rule. Guys, I'm just going to enforce the rule. I think it helps us not look sloppy.
Yep.
And I'm not into the sloppy look.
Yep.
It makes us play better, too.
And so, yes, I think it does.
Yeah,
so
it does.
I kind of nitpick at that. And then these kids that are smart Alex, tuck it in and then pull in, or just tuck in the front and it falls out by the nope, all the way around. And if I have to tell you again,
Yeah.
Well, you know how we rectify that, Coach?
We
need
a
a sub.
Need a sub.
Yeah.
You go, what's wrong? He's not cooperating.
He's not complying.
I need a sub. Would you? give me a sub now.
Yep. Teach him how to
Keeps it
tuck his
simple.
jersey in.
Yeah.
And
you know?
tie his shoe. A John Wooden thing. He taught those big guys how to tie shoes. That's what he did with his number one recruits.
Wow.
Teach them how to tie the shoes. His policy was, I don't want to think about anything but playing basketball.
Yeah.
Not
Makes
having
sense.
hitching up your pants, not were your shoes untied.
That makes sense.
Here is your best basic fundamentals. And if you know those, you'll be great.
fine.
Yeah.
And I guess it works.
Yeah. No, that's a
Just
great point. You're
10
absolutely right.
in a row NCAA championships. How can you argue with that? So,
Right.
Well, I think the younger generations, though, are caught more up into fashion and how they look to each other. Well, I got to look cute. I asked girls, I said, why are you
I had a
working
girl-
makeup? Oh, well, I have to look good. For who?
I
You're getting
had a
ready to
girl
sweat.
I had a girl the other day who was getting ready to play a volleyball game, and she's in there putting eye mascara on in the bathroom. And
And serious about it, too.
I just looked at her, and I
got to look good.
didn't say a word. I just washed my hands and kept on moving. I was like, oh, my goodness.
Makes me wonder if that girl was on the winning team or the losing
yeah.
team.
Because what were they?
They were there for the wrong reason.
Where are you at?
And there weren't even that many cute boys in the facility.
But in case.
Just in case.
So, need of officials. Let's talk about that a little bit. What do you think? Are we hurting for officials in those 3 sports you're in?
Definitely always in need of officials.
Okay.
The emails and texts I get of many games that I don't want all those weekend stuff, once in a while, but I'm not going to go. And I'm not retired yet, so I'm not taking off to drive to St. Louis to do 12,000 volleyball games or go up here this weekend and do 10 one day, 10 the next day of softball games. I'm not doing that.
There was a day.
There might have
There
been,
was.
but now I
You
got
said
a
there
full-time
might-
job.
You don't even
Right,
remember that
right.
day, huh?
And I got
We used to do
grandkids.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
see, and like for volleyball, we don't mind. We don't mind going up and doing, a weekend of. But the difference is, it's both of us.
Yeah.
Like we're both working.
And so
For you and your
it's
wife,
it's a
your wife
working
doesn't
date
do
for
it.
us.
Yeah.
It's a working day.
It's a
yeah.
working day.
So then
yeah.
we look at it as, well, bring in a little income. We can celebrate in the evening when we get done or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Right.
yeah, for you who, your wife is not an official, it wouldn't be fun for her.
Not at all.
But there certainly is a lack of officials in all of them that they tell me about. And, at some points, you always think, well, if they get too many, then I won't get enough games. But there is so many
There's so
the
much.
sports going from now you need a ref at a first grade level.
Yes, sir.
It's like,
Yep.
it's a little bit ridiculous.
Right.
And it's
Right.
almost it's all year round now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just basketball is not just a winter sport anymore. It is all year round. Volleyball is not just a fall sport. It is year round.
Yeah.
And now we've added on boys volleyball,
Right.
and that is considered a spring sport. But I'm sure that will go, all
Right.
year round too. So
You bring up a great point about a lot of officials don't recruit and don't go out and actively find younger officials to get in and mentor because there's a fear in their minds, and that's all it is in their minds, that their games they won't be able to get as many games. And they don't understand, most of these young people getting in that we've recruited, they love going out doing this AAU stuff. And most officials who are doing higher level ball like you guys, they don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
So I'm going, why don't you help us get officials? And I think unspoken, they don't want to do it for that reason. Well, I might lose some games because I got 89 games. Those kids are not ready to do that level of ball
Right.
anyway.
Right.
They're not ready.
Right. And we just need to understand, too, that, hey, we are all getting older.
Mm-hmm.
And
We
at
are.
event point, we will step out, and
Yeah.
what's left behind us.
and like you said, the knees are talking.
The
Yeah.
knees are
The
tough.
knees are talking. The back is talking. It's
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
it's almost as if we've participated all these years. Like
Right.
playing, but
Yeah, that tournament the 3 of us just did this weekend, that homeschool tournament, there was some officials, one of them came up to me and said, yeah, the reason he said, I'm getting out of basketball. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. He said, I wish I got into volleyball earlier. And I knew what he was going to say, but I said, well, why? He goes, man, when I get done with basketball, my body's all beat up and I can come do volleyball and I don't have to beat up my body and I can recover. I said, that's exactly the reason I'm glad I got into volleyball.
Right.
She tells people.
he's glad that his wife
Here
made
she
him get
goes.
into
Here
volleyball.
we go. She asked me kindly, Crane, would you consider working with me in volleyball? No. Then she made me some lasagna. I love her. She made me some. Chick makes some bomb lasagna.
Okay. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
By any means necessary.
By any means
right?
necessary. So tonight we have we're going to be starting another training class for RTS.
Yep.
So on that note, Barry, because have you ever come to our class and spoken for us?
I don't know if I spoke. I was at
Okay.
a class one time. I think something.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are working diligently for the last 13 years to get more officials
We're going
in.
on 13, yeah.
And we've created the referee training school. We've also done the podcast to help with recruiting, and then we've created the Hoosier 3-on-3 basketball so that we can recruit people and train them in there. So we're doing as much as we can, and I'm sure there's more we can do. But what kind of suggestions would you have that we can put more emphasis on recruiting?
Well, I know a new guy that's going to step up, that's going to start, and he's going to take your classes. But I remember when we were doing Upward Basketball and had you guys help there. We were getting people, just lay people, to get out on the court that didn't have to have, a license or anything. I just needed, come on, you're an adult, you can blow a whistle, you know a little bit about the game.
Right.
I'll teach you as we go through this process.
Right.
But so in that, I think what we needed to convince people is the fact that, hey, just come out. Maybe you ought to look at, like we check people and see what their talents are. But you need somebody that's not scared of somebody challenging your decision. And that's just enough. So you need that assertive person. And so almost don't worry about somebody like my wife that is, no, I'm not putting a whistle in and have somebody get mad at me. I can't take anybody yelling at me. You're not going to get that person. So look for people that are assertive and in that kind of thing. So I would look there. But I love the idea of the 3-on-3 tournament you guys are doing, because maybe that's kind of, although Upward is not working, but other places that are running the basketball might go there and just look for people in that way. The other place that I always look is that guy that's yelling at me that thinks that he knows what it is. I always offer him, hey, the licensing is usually just take the test, buddy.
You
It's a
remind
free
me of the
test.
guy that did that, Jerry. And we're going to have him on. Jerry, we met him at, PAL. And Sydney came home and said that she goes, I can't believe this guy was yelling. We asked her about him. She told us, yeah. I was like, Sydney, you think it's Daisy? You need to come work with me. So I did. This guy was off the chain. I'm looking at him. And Sydney goes, I told you. I said, well, let's see how I handle this. So I take some of our recruitment cards. I go over to the crowd. Hey, if you know anybody's interested. And he stops me and says, hey, what is this? And I'm thinking, I turn around. I was like, oh, Lord. And I said, we recruit and train people in officiating. And I go to walk away. So this is for anybody? Yeah, I guess. I'm thinking, I said, well, who do you know? He goes, what about me? Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
He came through the class.
He did.
Passed the class.
Passed the test.
Reached out to us recently and said that he's responding to an ad we put out to train people in 3-person. He's the only one that responded, I think.
No, we had 3.
Okay. I'm blown away because Jerry's an older gentleman, and he loves it.
That's good.
Absolutely loves it. And we made fun of him in class, too. You remember, Jerry, the first day we met? Yeah, I kind of remember all that. So you remember how you were acting? Now it's on you, buddy.
That's right.
Yep.
People need to, once, even I used to yell at refs. Just kind of a thing. And when I was coaching, man, and I had a couple that we won't mention names right here in Indiana. And I'm like, okay, come on, okay. But once you are on the floor, it's a different thing.
Much different.
And I was even at this JV one on Saturday. When you start blowing the whistle, and the most controversial call maybe is the double, and okay, what's that? Call the double, call the double. And
Everything's to them is double now.
Okay, you don't know what it is, nor do they understand that. Okay, the flow of this game. If we in basketball called everything, we'd have a whistle every 5 seconds.
Yes, sir.
And you can't do that to get the game. In some kind of a flow.
Right.
It's the same with volleyball. Some flow in softball, some flow. So there's going to be some give and take here on what we are going to call. Even I know that rule, but that's not, or that foul's not. I'm not blowing it. That travel, no, I'm not blowing it.
And it also, as I was telling a gentleman this weekend, I said, well, you have to look at the the level of play
Mhm.
also.
Mhm.
You know, things that I might call in a varsity match, I'm not going to call against third graders.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, so we have to be, you know, it's about being fair. And if I have a team that is much more superior than another team, I'm probably not going to call doubles on that team
Correct.
where I would on, you know, the better team,
Mhm.
you know, because they're
Certainly.
more skilled. And so, you know, there has to be a balance, and people need to understand that we're not just there just to blow our whistle and call every single double.
Absolutely.
So one final question on that note. The word judgment. We had a new student that came through. We've been laughing with him because he came through volleyball. He goes, everything you guys are teaching me, Crane and Tanya's judgment call. What is this? And so your opinion, 3 different sports you do, percentage-wise, how much would you say judgment is important in officials' calls or decisions?
Man, I mean, I was thinking this because I did a volleyball game when I was up, and you know, I think we had just 3 games, just went 3 sets. But you look at it and you say, I blew the whistle because the games went to about 25, 23. So, you know, just to say there's 50. So I did 3. I had 150 whistles of constantly that you have to just blow.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in between that, how many of the times did I have the ball go over and back and forth to that? Now I've got to judge that was that a double?
Mm-hmm.
Did they lift it? Were they out of bounds?
Mhm.
Everything about that, you know. So 150 times I blew my whistle, but I made how many other decisions
Right.
all the way? And then one, of course, this coach got mad at me, and she thinks I called this. She said no, she had her knuckles, and I'm like, well, it's going to be a judgment call.
That's right.
I made a judgment call, and then wanted me to change the judgment call. No, I'm not changing a judgment
Judgment has been ruled.
call. So, but is that, you know, so is one of those games more, you know, because I used to think it's softball, because every pitch, every
Mhm.
time they're running,
It's judgment.
it's judgment on just where they're at and all of that. So I don't know whether it's more. I think you have obviously more whistles. Well, not necessarily, but in volleyball, there's more whistles because you're starting the game every
Right.
time
Yep.
and stuff. But the judgments, I think probably I'm involved. I feel like I'm more involved softball wise,
Okay.
but volleyball is close. And then, of course, I don't know, basketball. You're there. You're
Yeah.
watching everything as well. There's so
Mhm.
many rules that people don't even know that you have to
Correct.
watch.
Yep. And then
Okay.
they want fouls all the time, and you know.
No, only against the other team.
And basketball, they you know, they tend to forget that it is a contact sport.
Yes.
Mhm.
So yeah, okay, that contact there was, but that is called legal contact.
Correct.
There's something between illegal and legal. So know your rules.
And I always tell people contact is part of the game.
Yep.
It
used
absolutely
to it.
is. Such a balance, but you really want, and I really appreciate it, and I liked when we were doing Upward, I'm still part of the teaching,
Mm-hmm.
and in a lot of the levels of basketball that we do or volleyball, if I can be involved with the teaching of it, you know, why did I blow that whistle? Do you know why? So I can tell somebody that.
It's a
that
learning
kid- that-
situation.
Yes, a
teaching.
learning
Mhm.
situation,
Yes.
because I do like teaching. So.
Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
the same way. Well, hey, Barry, we really appreciate you coming on, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming. I knew you'd be a great guest. I knew you would.
Well,
you like me. You like to laugh a lot.
yeah, I do like to laugh, and I do like sports, and so it's
Yes,
been
sir.
fun doing this. You know, I'm excited to be involved in refereeing, and I just give it my best.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you. Got anything you want to close out with, Tanya?
Nope. Looking forward to having an exciting sectional with you.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yes,
that'll
it
be
will.
fun.
You want to make the announcement about the Hoosiers, or you want me to?
Our next Hoosier tournament event, Hoosier 3-on-3, is going to be December 31st, which is New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be
It
at.
is a Sunday, and yes, it will be at Turnstone once
Turnstone.
again. So
Yep.
we are looking forward to that.
And the name of it is. Sydney came up with the name, by the way. That's why we have to share it.
It is Hoosier Holiday Hoops.
Ooh,
Hoosier Holiday Hoops.
Hoosier Holiday Hoops.
We're doing it on the 31st.
31st.
We are. Yep.
Okay.
So you going to be around?
All the family Christmas schedule is not set, but it all depends on family.
Okay. If you're around and
Yeah.
you're available and interested, we may call on your services.
Hey,
Yep.
if we can do it, we would love it.
Okay.
And for those
great.
of you that are interested, you can always go to reftrainingschool.com and check out our upcoming classroom
training
dates.
classes.
Yep.
Yep.
So
great. All right, Barry, thanks again.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
guys.
We'll see you on the court somewhere.
Okay, will do. God bless.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Take care. Thanks again for listening to Ref Time, powered by RefTrainingschool.com and Hoosier3on3.com. Produced by Coraggio Media, Ref Time is recorded in WELT Studios in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana.
to join RTS, visit RefTrainingschool.com. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends.
Until next time.